So today we'll be seeing use effect, use context. Okay. So here, as you can see in this lifecycle component, class-based lifecycle hooks, we have mounting phase, we have updating phase, we have unmounting phase, right? Error handling here is it's same in both functional and class-based component. You just create a fallback UI as your functional component. Okay, that's it. So in mounting phase, you have all these methods, updating phase and mounting phase. But let's say I want to implement the same thing in my functional component, but these methods are only available in class-based components. It is not there in the functional components. So the alternative which we have got of all these methods is only one method we have, that is use effect. Okay, so use effect is a combination of all. What that is mounting, updating, unmounting. So use effect is a combination of all of them, right? This one, initialization phase, changing phase, and removing phase, right? So how do we use them in our functional component? So let's create one component. What is react.fragment? It creates an empty element, or else you can just keep it like this. Only this much is also enough. So inside this, I will just write h1 and then I will write use effect example. So how do we use it? So in this use effect hook, there are two ways to use it. One is you can directly use usestate, RAFC export default. Okay. So now here we can use usestate in two ways. One, you can directly write usestate. Okay. So you need to import it here, or else you can directly write react dot usestate. Okay, in this way also you can write, or you can when you are importing you can directly write usestate. When you don't want to import, then you can write react dot usestate. Like sometimes we don't import components, we write react dot components. In class based component, when we are extending, here we directly write components, right? So if you're not importing it, then here you need to write. These are all small things. Now let's talk about this use effect. Okay. So as I told, use effect does all the task: mounting, updating, and unmounting. So let me use effect. This is not good. You can import it directly. Okay. Done. So now what I will do is, so you can see here, this is an effect which it gives. This is my cleanup function. Okay. So you can consider this as a mounting phase. You can consider this as a unmounting phase. And on the very first time, it will be a mounting phase. From the second time onwards, it will be updating phase. So for the very first time, on the initialization, it will be mounting, and after that, it will be updating. And this is your cleanup. So what do we do in cleanup? When you are writing set timeout, set interval, what do you do? Clear timeout, clear interval. When you subscribe, you can unsubscribe, you can store something into a variable, clean the variable over here. And these are all things you can do it. So now what we'll do is, let me just write simple h1 and I'll write. Then here we'll be writing that. So we will be having the form as well, right, in hotel booking application. So where are you planning to keep that? In detail page you'll be having, right, on the right hand side. Anyways, so now what we'll do. So as I said, it is a mounting phase. We'll write a simple console log statement. First time it will be mounting, right? Then later on it will be updating phase. Second time onwards, whenever it renders, it will be a updating phase. So that means it is render. Okay, and here what do we do in cleanup? What else? Initial state is not defined. Okay, yeah. So we'll comment this part. Done. So now let's go ahead and check. So you can see I'm getting this mounting where, okay, this is a parent render, fine. So mounting, updating, and render I'm getting. So this is a mounting phase, okay? For the very first time when I rendered it, it is a mounting phase, okay? And there is no changes done yet, right? So updating phase will not execute because there is no changes in either props or states, right? So when you are making changes to either props or states, then it will become a updating phase. How it will become a updating phase, we'll see. Okay. So what I'll do here, I will write state and set state, okay, and we'll give a initial state to that. Let's implement simple counter functionality. So here we'll give initial state as, and then what we will do is we'll write a button to increment plus plus. Showing initial state is not defined, line number 5 and 6. I'm giving a counter plus 1. Fine. So now what I will do is increment counter. Fine. So what will happen is here you can see first time mounting will be executed. Then whenever there is a change to either states or props, second time it will be updating phase. Okay. Yeah. Let me print also. So you can see mounting, updating. Okay, it is a first mounting phase, and then when I increment it, so it will be updating phase. Okay, from second time onwards, and after each thing, cleanup is also getting called. Okay, so in this way, it is getting executed. Now, what we will do is, let's say I have a counter and set counter, so there is a change to counter state, right? So what if I have other state, let's say just write data and set data, then I'll write use data as in let's say just a name. Now what happens, see, I'll write change name equal to data, it's an object, like this. Now what I'll do is change name. So what happens here is, you can see when I'm incrementing, I'll clear it. When I'm incrementing, it is getting executed, right? So you can see on the very first time, it is only calling the mounting phase, right? So when I'm incrementing, then clean up. Okay, so clean the first thing, whatever you had, and then this is a updating phase, right? Because there was a change to state. Again, I'll increment. Now what happens when I click on change name? Again, it is getting called. So what is happening over here is, for each state change or a prop change, your use effect is getting called. So it is giving a side effect. So this should not happen. Your code should be specific to the particular task. Now let's say if you're making an API call, you had made a get API call. Okay, so you had made get. So let's say axios dot get or fetch dot get. You have written that API, and then after that you are storing it in your, let's say, set data. Okay, whatever response has come, you have stored that in the set data, this one. Okay, now if you are working with this data and set data, then on this it should not give any side effect, right? So if you want that kind of a condition that it should not get called for every state change, for every render, then you need to give a condition, like how we had should component update in class component, like that only you need to give a condition. So this condition, what you need to say, you want to work on counter or data. So if I say no, I want to work on counter, then on change of data, this will not get called. Okay, so let me show you that. Mounting phase, you can see I'll increment the counter, it is getting called. When I click on change name, it should not. See? Okay, let me do one thing. Let me print that name. Data.name. So see, increment counter is getting called. So on change of Rama, it did not get called. Right? So same with if you are giving instead of counter, if you are giving uh, just data. So this is what we do. We give a condition like this. Okay, only for this state you need to change. Because see, when we are making API call, okay, we are updating only data and set data, right? So that is the reason we give this kind of condition. So only for this you need to get called. Otherwise, for every state change, it will get called, right? Okay, I've given the data, right? So now you can see for the very first time it got called. Increment counter, it is not getting called at all, right? Change name, it got called. Okay, so what if we give empty array? If we are not giving anything and we just give empty array, then what will happen? Right, it is not getting called for any of these. Whatever changes you make there in your mounting updating phase, it will work, okay, in your cleanup function also. So your should component update method in your class component, right? So use effect is only one function and it is performing all the task of class component methods, right? I'm not telling all, but whatever important methods are there, like should component update, did mount component, did update component will unmount. Okay, so these all methods are very useful. So it is a combination of all those methods. I'll quickly show you guys the form so that you can go ahead and implement. Let's say here we'll have a form and we do have, let's say we have username and password. Okay, let me create. Here I'll have what you will be having a username. We'll have on change event over here. We'll point to on change method for this form. Let's have on submit event on form submit method. So we'll create that on form submit method. In this change handler method also pass one event, and on submit you just say e dot prevent default, right? So it will not reload. And okay, here you need to write form data dot username. Oh, do I need to write initial state? No, right? Form data dot username and value also you need to give, right? So the very first time the values will be empty only, and then on change we'll write a change handler. So let's say change handler equal to, so here what we'll do is we'll be updating the state here on change handler. So let's say I'll pass the e again, the event, which will point to your targeted element. and you write set form data, okay, and target dot name. So it's a kind of destructuring you're doing, and you are assigning each value to that. So it is pointing to this name, okay, and for each name, the values are getting assigned. Okay, so let's on submit, we'll see the data. So we'll print here. Let's write change handler sample. Line number 8 form example. Okay, so I have not written react.usestate. Okay, or I have not declared, I have not imported usestate. That's the reason it is giving the error. So empty dependency use effect. I had created a lot of use effect there. Let me remove it. Okay, so I'll write the username. You can write anything. Component is changing a controlled input of type uncontrolled input emission, not switch from controlled to uncontrolled. You will control uncontrolled input element for the light. Okay. So I'm using unique values only. So basically, this error comes when you're using the same property. On change event, you have a change handler.